Hello again. Now let me explain to you one more important vertical in the ADAS development, which is automotive cyber security, and the concerned standard is ISO 21434. I will explain to you the importance of ADAS as far as automotive security in the ADAS context. But first of all, I will briefly touch upon what is meant by automotive cyber security, what are the various fields it touches upon. ISO or SAE 21434, which is the name of the standard which dictates the automotive cyber security standard, and please see the below detailed explanation. ISO 21434, titled Road Vehicle Cyber Security Engineering, is an international standard developed jointly by the International Organization of the Standard and the Society of Automotive Engineers. It provides a structured framework for managing cybersecurity risks in automotive systems throughout their entire life cycle, from concept to decommissioning. This sentence is very important. From concept to decommissioning, what are all the various cyber risks involved? This standard will manage. Okay, this standard was published in 2021 when the International Standard Organization International Organization for Standardization recognized that cyber security is a tangible threat. This standard was published in response to increasing connectivity and automation in the vehicle. Now, as the vehicle is becoming more and more connected, as more and more it is becoming software defined, the risk of the cyber security is drastically enhancing, and that led to the publishing of this particular standard. Okay, so as the connectivity increases, the vulnerability to cyber threats also increased, and it aligns with other standards like UN regulation number 155 and ISO 26262 to ensure holistic approach to to vehicle security. All right, and key objectives of ISO 21434. The primary goals of ISO 21434 are risk management, secure development, continuous monitoring, compliance, and certification. All right, now let me elaborate each one. The risk management is identify, assess, mitigate cybersecurity risks in automotive systems. These words are very carefully chosen. First you identify them, then you assess them, and then you mitigate them. All three are extremely important. And when it comes to secure development, ensuring cyber security is integrated into the vehicle development process. All right, so once the cyber security is developed or a vehicle is made cyber secure, integration comes the next step. And next comes continuous monitoring. Maintain security even after deployment through threat detection and response. Last but not the least, compliance and certification. Help manufacturers meet the regulatory requirements. So this compliance and certification is the most important thing, because unless it complies and it is certified, it cannot be sold in the market. Now, in the structure of ISO 21434, the standard is divided into 15 clauses and 6 annexes. Alright, and this covers organizational cyber security governance, project dependent cyber security activities, and continuous risk management, post development security monitoring. Alright, now let's see some key clauses in this ISO 21434. Clause 5, it focuses on organizational cyber security policies and culture. Clause 6, it focuses on cyber security roles and responsibilities. And clause 7 is risk assessment methodology. Tara, I will be explaining this Tara in a separate video altogether, because this is the foundation or the most pivotal point of the entire cyber security. Clause 8 is cyber security in product development. And when it comes to clause 9, secure software development aligned with ISO 26262. So when the software is developed, it must also be aligned with ISO 26262. And what is this ISO 26262? It is nothing but functional safety. Okay, now coming to clause 10, production and operational security. Clause 11, incident detection and response. Again, this is very important. You detect the incident and then you respond to it appropriately and in a real-time response world. This is extremely important. Last but not the least, clause 12 is cyber security monitoring and updates. Okay, so these are the various structures of the ISO 21434. Now coming to core cyber security process in ISO 21434, the most important process, as I said in the previous slide, is threat analysis and risk assessment. This is the pivotal pin or the pivotal platform on which the entire cyber security assessment is based on. So this threat analysis or risk assessment, which is acronymed as TARA, identifies potential threats, example hacking, malware and unauthorized access. It also assesses risks based on attack feasibility and impact severity. So you have to identify what are the areas where attack is feasible, and if at all the attack happens, how deep or how horrible is the impact, what is the severity of the impact. Next defines the security controls, encryption, authentication and secure boot. Now these are all the three examples of the security control. How do you control the security? By encryption, by authentication and by secure boot. Now what is this secure development life cycle or SDL? So SDL comprises of the requirements engineering, define security requirements which are a part of the SIS1. If you have any doubts, you are most welcome to go to the SIS1 or the system engineering module, and it will give a clear cut idea about the requirements engineering. Next comes the secure design. It applies security principles, at least privilege, defense in depth. And coming to the secure coding, follow best practices. Example, MISRA C. MISRA C is a standard based on the software development and static code analysis. Now, one more important part of the secure development life cycle is testing and validation. And within testing and validation, further tests like penetration testing, fuzz testing, vulnerability scanning, all these are important parts of the testing and validation. Now, coming to production and post-production security, it is not only during the production or proactively developing the security which is important. It is also after production and post-production security also, which is extremely important when it comes to cyber security. All right. Now, next is it ensures secure manufacturer process, it implements over-the-air security updates, and it defines incident response plans for detected branches. Okay, it defines the incident response plans for detected branches. Now, let's briefly touch upon how ISO 21434 protects the automotive system. Now, what are the various ways in which it prevents the entire system getting hacked? First is, what is the threat? Unauthorized ECU access, and according to ISO 21434, it is mitigated with the help of secure boot authentication mechanisms. Next comes the malware injection, and this is mitigated by code signing, intrusion detection systems, which is acronymed as IDS. Also, eavesdropping on the CAN bus. Okay, there are some hackers who try to extract information by eavesdropping on the CAN bus or the CAN route, and the way to mitigate it is by encryption. And what are coming to the remote exploits like OTA or Wi-Fi, secure update mechanisms like penetrating testing is extremely important. And coming to sensor spoofing, data integrity checks and anomaly detection. Okay, now let's see the various benefits of ISO 21434. Now, by this time, I am sure all of you would have understood the importance of ISO 21434, why ISO 21434 is such an important standard. Okay, but still, let's elaborate on the benefits. The most important benefit is standardized approach, provides a common framework for automakers and suppliers. Next is regulatory compliance, helps meet UN R155 and regional cyber security laws. Okay, this regulatory compliance is the most important aspect of the ISO 21434. And now coming to the next is reduce vulnerability. So naturally, once you implement this ISO 21434, it proactively addresses security flaws before exploitation. And next comes the consumer trust. It enhances brand reputation by ensuring vehicle safety. So naturally, nowadays, where social media or every failure is published in the social media so rampantly, gaining the consumer trust is very important. I am sure everybody would have seen in LinkedIn or any other social media failure of any automobile being advertised in LinkedIn by the end customer. For example, any vehicle, any brand vehicle fails, naturally the customer will write in LinkedIn saying that such and such a failure has happened, or such and such a workshop or such and such a dealership has not shown proper response. Alright, so gaining consumer trust in this social media age is of extreme importance. Now, what are the various challenges? The biggest challenge is complexity, integrating cybersecurity and functional safety. Now, both the cybersecurity and functional safety are a part of requirement engineering, which is further a part of SIS1 level. Okay, in the SIS1 level, where initial requirements are clearly outlined, integrating cyber security with functional security is the most important step, and it is also the most complex step. Now coming to the various evolving threats, AI driven attacks, quantum computing risk are the evolving threats. Next comes the supply chain risk, ensuring tier 1 and tier 2 suppliers comply. So making sure the tier 1 and tier 2 are on the same page in the point of view of OEMs is the next important challenge. Now, what are the further updates? Further updates may address AI security, V2X communication, and quantum resistant cryptography. Alright, so this is extremely important. Further updates which includes AI security, vehicle to everything communication. Now, vehicle to communication is especially important because there are plenty of ways in V2X by which malware can be injected into the vehicle. So that's the reason this V2X communication is extremely important. And quantum resistant cryptography. Conclusion, when it comes to conclusion, ISO SAE 21434 is critical standard for securing modern vehicles against cyber threats. By enforcing structured risk management, secure development practices and continuous monitoring, it helps protect connected and autonomous vehicles from malicious attacks. Also, compliance is becoming mandatory in many regions, making it essential for automakers. Now, cybersecurity is no more an optional requirement, it is becoming mandatory in many requirements. Okay, so that is the reason why SAE 21434 is becoming such a critical standard. It is becoming essential for automakers, suppliers, and software developers. Okay, thank you.